Hello. I know I have not made a video in a fat minute, and I decided recently, with it being the beginning of the month, even though this may not be the most productive video, and we will see how much I actually get through in this video, it'll be very realistic. I decided, why not take you guys along with me to kind of see what I'm reading and what I have been reading, and just kind of maybe like a little week in my life, I guess, sort of, not really, maybe like a week in my reading. I've been trying to read a lot more, but I don't have a lot of time, and I'm starting summer classes literally today, so we'll see how much I can actually read. Maybe this will kind of help me stay on track. The last book I read was Parancy, and that took me about 18 days to read, which is terrible. I also read An Ember in the Ashes. I had watched Heather McLary's video on it, and she said it was really good. She had read the whole series and said the whole series was good, so I decided to read it. I got it from my library on my Kindle, and I finished that, I think, in about a week or so, which, once again, not the best, but your girl has been tired, and my free time is literally taken up just by bed rotting, and it's terrible. So I need to stop bed rotting, and I need to start bed reading. Ew. Started that book, and I was just waiting for it in line, and by the time it was available, you don't get to be like, oh, give me another 3 days. No, you check it out then. And my library goes in 14-day increments, and there was already people in line waiting after me, so I kind of had to read it. And I think that's partially why it took me so long to read Parancy, was because in the middle of that book I wanted to pick that book up, and I did have a deadline on that book, so that was kind of my priority to finish it. But I finished Parancy anyways afterwards, and I noticed that A Torch in the Night, I think is the name of this one, the second book in the series, nobody was in line for that one, and I decided, before I pick up another physical book, let me just go ahead and read this one. My thoughts and opinions on the first book in the series, without spoilers, would be the writing seemed very, I don't know, to me the writing was a little bit weird. The story was good and the potential was there, and it did touch upon topics that aren't normally touched upon in this genre, so I did really like that. It was like a breath of fresh air, and honestly, even though the writing sometimes took me out of the experience, I was probably in the experience more than I wasn't, so I did really enjoy it. And I'm only 40 pages into this book currently, and I've had it for maybe like a total of 3 days, but so far I am seeing an improvement in the writing, and I am really enjoying that. And also, there is a lot more happening already in this book, and we are on page 40. The good thing I liked about the first book is that literally in the first couple chapters the story is going, but then after that it does kind of drag a little bit. I think for me, I really struggle with internal monologues being too much. I will DNF a book for that if the main character or whoever the chapter is following, they're just constantly in their head repeating the same thing, just in different verbiage. That really does irk me. But I was able to push through in that book, and I'm reading this one 40 pages in, and so far it's a lot better. So I will update you guys maybe once I'm a little bit further in. I am 11% of the way, and I think I still have maybe like 10 days left of this book with my library. So I will check back in with you guys later. And it is now the next day, and I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I should have grabbed my Kindle, but I think I'm on page like 73. I'm not sure which chapter I'm on yet, and let me just say, we are kind of running into the same issue of the author repeating things again and again, just in different ways. But I feel like a lot of the character development has gotten a lot better. I don't want to spoil anything. If I do, I will tell you guys to skip on ahead, because this is the second book in the series. But so far, the character development I am a little bit confused about, just because the two love interests, or the two main relationship, I guess, they did not really spend a lot of time together in the first book, and then now they're kind of just like can't resist each other. So I'm a little bit confused about that. I mean, the dialogue that we are getting between these two, and the internal dialogue that we are getting about how these two feel about each other, is great. And there was also, it is a lot better than in the first book, because in the first book I feel like it was a bunch of build up, because like I said, they did not spend a lot of time together. But in this book, I think there is a bigger picture at play here, and I think we got a little bit of foreshadowing into who these main characters really are in the grand scheme of things. Because if you guys know the augurs, they can kind of like see the future. They never die. They're these super old, wise well, all-knowing beings, right? Basically, they just go against nature. They kind of have this, they know what is happening and they're kind of facilitating it to happen. And they did mention something about the two main characters. So I am a little interested to see that this is a bigger picture. Once again, there is one more book, and I'm only on page like 70 something out of 450, I believe. So I'm not halfway yet. I think I only read like 50 pages since last time we spoke, but I just want to update you guys on that because so far the story is storying, but we are slowing down a little bit on the progression of the overall story, which is fine. We probably do need a little bit of building and character development. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, so maybe skip this, but I am interested to see how she plays this love triangle out and kind of how she goes about it. So we will see. I am interested in that as well because it went from being a love square to a love triangle. So it was kind of crazy how she eliminated the square. But it was short and sweet, and honestly, all the ties were nipped in the butt, so it was fine. But it was just kind of funny how abrupt it had happened, especially when she had spent like 70% of the first book making you think it was going to be a love triangle between Laya and these two guys. But then in the second book, it's like, oh no, it's these two girls and Elias. So we'll see how that pans out. Hello, guys. Okay, the lighting is terrible, but this is like the vibes. And I have not been able to just sit down and read like this and have like a moment of actually good reading where I'm not picking up my phone. I love to like light up some candles. I got these candles to kind of be, because they're supposed to like burn for I think 40-50 hours, which is so cool. Because I was going through my Bath & Body Works ones so quickly, and they're also kind of expensive. These were on sale at IKEA, but they are not giving me the lighting that I need. And I'm here with my cat, Calcifer. But anyways, I wanted to let you guys know, I just read, oh my gosh, it was so good too. Like, it did not even feel like I was reading. Like, I have not had such a good reading session like that. And oh my gosh, in like a month, y'all. Like, reading felt like a chore for a little bit there. I was getting a little worried. But I just read like 60 pages, and I'm currently on part 2 of the second book of The Number in the Ashes series, and it is so good. Like, I love this. The action is there, the pacing is there. We were kind of losing the pacing a little bit, but then it picked back up, and now we have stuff happening. And we're also seeing it from 3 points of view too. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in my previous clips, but 3 points of views. So I was kind of confused when we got, I don't think this is a spoiler, but I was a little confused when we were introduced into Helene's point of view, just because she's on like a completely different like standpoint from the 2 other point of views. I also don't think that's a spoiler, but if you read the first book, that's not a spoiler. But and it's just so like, I feel like her point of view is important, but I feel like, I don't know, like, it's just so good, y'all. Like, I'm eating this shit up. I'm probably gonna take a break for the rest of the night though, just because it's already like 9 o'clock, 9:30 actually. No, I think it's like almost 10 right now. The first book, I just didn't connect with it like this. So I feel like a lot of people might be deterred from that, but I'm really enjoying this book, and I almost didn't pick up this book because of my experience with the first one. But I can say I am really feeling it and really vibing it, and I'm like about 50% of the way through. So hopefully we can continue this pace because I have a week left on my loan. Okay, I'm going to update you guys a little bit on kind of what has been happening. I think last time I checked in, I was about 50% of the way through the book. Y'all, I'm only about like 60% of the way through, so I really have not read much since that night. So a lot has been happening in the book so far. I'm really not sure in what direction she's going to take this, because I am 60% of the way through, but my loan on the book does end in a couple of days, so I need to finish it, and my plan was to finish it today. If not today, then Thursday, because I'm off today and Thursday. and I do have homework I need to do though. So the plan today was to go to the library, read, do some homework, read, do some homework, basically just do that all day into my plans later on. So hopefully I finish this book. I only have like 40% left. There is so much happening. And at first I really loved it because the first book was a little slow in my opinion. That I was kind of like, okay, we're just getting a lot of internal monologue. We're like learning who the characters are, whatever, that's fine. I've noticed that to be the kind of way that these trilogy fantasy books go. So I'm kind of like used to it all. But now that we're kind of nearing the end of the book, I'm a little confused. I can tell she definitely is going to leave some cliffhangers. So I'm like, there's no way you're going to be able to wrap up. Right now, there's literally 3 different storylines going on right now. Literally. Well, they're all like in the same timeline, but it's like 3 different points of view of the same story that I'm like, wow, there is so much happening that sometimes I forget who the fuck is going through what at the moment. And like, it's a lot right now, but I am hopefully gonna finish it. Hopefully the 3rd book is a good conclusion to it. I don't know if I'm gonna read the 3rd book next in this series or in this video, or if I will. If there's no horror on it, I will read it. May as well. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Okay, so it is now a couple of hours later. I filmed those first clips at like 11 and it is currently 5 something. So I have finished the book and I have a lot to say. Honestly, I know I had said I don't know how she's going to wrap all of this up, all of these different storylines, but she did. Everything was wrapped up. I will say though, she did kind of use the time skip to alleviate some of the explanation, which is fine because honestly it probably would have added like a couple hundred more pages, and like honestly that would have been like a little unnecessary given how long this book is already. And I didn't know, but there's 4 books in this. It's not a trilogy, there's 4 books. Anyways, it was so good. It was so good. I will say though that I definitely like what this author has done, and that's kind of what kept me pushing through the first book, is that she touches on topics that a lot of people don't in this genre. I don't know if it's like considered like fantasy or whatnot, because there is some like fantasy elements to it. But for example, like you do have a lot of like books that kind of have similar premises, but they don't talk about like the harsh reality of it. And at some points it was uncomfortable, it was hard to read, but it's all very real. And I feel like when people kind of debate that reading isn't political, they are just reading books that choose to shy away from these topics. So I really admire that she did that, and the way she went about it was honestly great. It was hard to read, like I said, uncomfortable at times, but it's a harsh reality for people like to this day sometimes. And like some people's ancestors have even went through this, and I'm glad that she did it. And I feel like a lot of people do need to kind of touch upon these subjects, because it's not all just love triangles and wins and losses. Like there's a lot that goes into war and all of the things that has happened in this book, like the genocide. Like that's straight up what it was, is genocide. And a lot of these books will not put that word in their book, even though that's literally what is happening. And she did, and that's like, it's genocide, and she says it's genocide, but like she actually said that word. And like, I just feel like that's very like different. And maybe I just haven't been reading authors who do touch upon these topics, which you guys are probably like, girl, shut up, like there are so many authors who have been doing this, which may be so. And this is just my first author that is kind of like delving me into it, so give me grace. I am trying to expand my reading genres and like the authors that I read, so please give me grace. But I honestly just loved it. Like the way she tied up all the ends, the plot twists were good, and when you're all like, oh, we figured it out, like the main character, the point of view of the character of the chapter, they figured it out. No, honey, there's more they didn't know. Like you thought you knew, but you didn't. I will say though, I didn't really like the time skip at the end just because it was a month in advance, and like I said, it kind of like cut off. So, but like even the way she went about it was pretty good. The ending was good. Everything is set up for the next book, and it wasn't in an annoying way where it's like she cut off in the middle of a conflict. Like everything from this book was tied up, and I really like that, because then that means in the next book it's going to be a completely different like playing field, and I really enjoyed that about this book. So overall, I would say I gave this book a 5 stars on Goodreads. It was so good. I finished all of this in like an hour or so of just sitting here. I did my homework and then I sat here and just kept reading for like an hour or so. Loved it. I think I almost read like 200 or something so pages. I was going to read the next book in this series, but I am on a hold. But it says less than 2 weeks, so maybe I will just compile that into this video. We will see. But overall, very pleased. Y'all should read this. The first book might be a little rough, or it might be perfect for you. I didn't personally love the first book. I gave it 3 stars. But the second book really made up for that. And I feel like I love when an author can do that. So I'm really excited to read this next book.